Hello, everybody. Hi. Um, Today I wanted to talk to you about your messages, how you are receiving your guided messages from God, the divine, your higher self, the angels, whomever it is that you work with, that you believe in. How do we receive them? So the answer is they're very subtle. Everything is extremely subtle to the point that we think it's just a passing thought that has no weight or that has no meaning. And this is where we dismiss them, right? I'm just opening my I am opening my phone so I can see if you guys show up here for the comments because there's no comments on my laptop. Anyway, the way that we receive our messages feels like it's your own thought in your own voice in your head that just kind of pops in, and it feels like a very, very, very subtle, slight uplift in your body, like, ooh, and then we let it go. And the reason we let it go, many reasons, but some of the reasons that we let them go is that we don't believe it's real. We don't believe it's true. We don't believe it could be. We don't believe we're gifted enough to receive it. We don't believe that it's good enough. We begin to get that ego come into our heads that says, who are you for this? You can't be this gifted. You can't have these things. This is not really happening. You're making it up. All of those little things that come into our head is your ego. And your ego is there to help you stay protected, right? So if you're here, you probably did have, hi Jasmine, you probably had in some type of parallel life or past life a time where you were persecuted or hurt because of your connection to the unseen, right? So at the very beginning, we were very connected to, we were one with the universe, with other humans, with nature, with everything. And then as time went by, that started to be removed and it started to be separated through the introduction of different types of religious services. Now, the religions came from someone who was really high in consciousness who was teaching this. But then mankind, the ego, was like, that's too scary, so let's put some rules around this. The problem with all religions is that they were created by mankind, and mankind can only see the whole picture through man's eyes. And when I say man, I mean human beings, not specifically men. Um, and so we can only see the teachings through our human eyes and beliefs, with the ego included, which is extremely limiting, right? It's because the ego and our whole human being here are all about fear, right? And you will see this because you see this in every religion that there's some type of fear put upon, right? Like if you don't follow the commandments, then you're going to hell. And that's the only one I know because I was raised Catholic and that's the religion I know about. But you guys, whatever religion you grew up around knowing, you would know what is the thing you're not supposed to do in order not to get punished, right? Even in Hindu, it's like it's the karma, right? Oh, you did something bad, so now you're coming back and it's going to repeat unless you whatever, right? So everything has to do with fear. And fear comes from your ego. And your ego comes from the part of wanting to protect you so you don't get hurt, so that you don't get persecuted, burned at the stake, shun away from your family, all of those things that did happen in different past lives or parallel lives, whatever you want to call them. So that's where that comes from. And this is why it's so difficult for us now to believe and trust what we're actually receiving. We are actually receiving the messages all the time. They just feel like it's our own thoughts because they are, because that's how you receive them. You receive your messages through the sound, thought of your own voice because that's you. You're not going to hear my voice in your head unless you work with me and then have some people say, I heard your voice telling me. I'm like, okay, that's still not you. But you're going to hear it as if it's your thought, your inner thought. And the difference between guided message, a guided divine message that you're receiving versus ego is that the ego is always going to have something that makes you feel smaller, like a criticism, like a judgment. You could have done better. That's like, oh, didn't I do enough? Yeah, you did, but what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Could you do something better than that? And then that takes away from our feeling like, wow, I did amazing, right? That's ego because it's not lifting you up, it's stopping your feeling of feeling amazing in the moment and continuing to feel that way. It stops it because it makes you think like, oh, that wasn't enough. Oh, I have to do more. Instead of like, no, you are good enough. You are good enough right now, exactly with what you're doing right now, right? So that's ego. Ego's going to tell you something that is making you feel small, stop you, criticize you, judge you. That's ego. Divine guidance is the one that gives you a very, very, very subtle, slight moment of, I feel seen, I feel loved, I feel amazing, I feel enough. I feel like what I just did, what I just accomplished here is fantastic. Imagine a little child, a 3 year old, say, who comes over and gives you this picture, and maybe it's your son or your daughter, and it says, here, I just drew you. And they're so excited, so full of life and excitement, and like, I can't wait for mommy to see this. And they show it to you, and it's like a circle with some dots in it, and you're like, what is that? I wouldn't even have known that's supposed to be me or a person unless the child had explained it to us, right? And because we love them, we're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? And we're cracking up inside because the representation that we see here on this paper has no resemblance to what we believe we look like. But that child has that amazing feeling of like, I drew mommy, right? I drew this person that I love, and here it is, and it's so incredible and so amazing. They have all that feeling. And we, the moms, when we embrace that and we tell them, great job, this is amazing, wow, right? We give them that validation. That's exactly how your divine spirit will feel to you. That's how it will answer you. And it's not to say that that child cannot improve, just like it's not to say that we cannot improve. That's not the point. The point is that this is the best thing you could do right now, and it is loved, accepted, and appreciated in the moment. That's how spirit makes you feel. And because you feel love, accepted, and seen in that moment, that gives you the confidence to go on and continue to expand on your own. So let's continue with the idea of the drawing, right? Of course, because I'm also an art teacher. So, of course, it has to do something with art. If you have and you receive that feeling of being embraced and loved and appreciated for what you did, in the moment, then you believe more in yourself, and then you yourself expand to the next level. You don't need someone to tell you, that's great, but you can do better. Because that judgmental voice that says, yeah, that's great, but you can do better, is actually telling you, no, you're not good enough right now in this moment. And that's why we feel our energy retract and shrink. Because even though in today's society, messages like that or voices like that or comments like that can be supported by saying, well, I'm just pushing them to go to the next level, or I'm just letting them know that there's something more, it actually is doing the opposite, because what it's doing is it's crushing the spirit. The spirit is the part that just loves and flows and is amazing. So when you're receiving your message, it's going to feel like a very slight voice in your head. And it just takes maybe like a quarter of a second in your body that you feel it. It's like a little uplift, a little excitement. Then your ego comes in and it starts telling you all the nays, right? Who are you to think of that? You can't do that. How are you going to do that? You need money for that. Whatever type of excuses to stop you from taking action, right? And then we stop. We stop dreaming. We're like, whatever. And we forget about it and we don't do anything. The ego did its job. It kept you safe from being seen, because most of the time when you do get that little thought, that little idea, that little uplift within your body, it's something that's scary because you haven't done it before. It's something that's scary because you don't know what the outcome will be. Let's say it is that, I don't know, you should draw a picture of yourself, and you have believed yourself to be a terrible artist throughout your life. So you're going to have that thought or that idea like, oh, maybe I can do it. And then ego's going to say, who do you think you are? You always got like a B or a C in art class. You can't do this, blah, 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 blah. And then you're not even going to try it, right? Now, if you get that uplift and you're like, oh, well, let me just try and see. Let me just play as if you're a baby, a child. Let me just play with the idea and this thought and just draw something. And then you can prove to yourself like, okay, yeah, this is pretty bad. And you can laugh at yourself. But you did it. You did it. You took action upon that little voice. And it's going to remain there as evidence that you listened to your higher self. And when you begin to listen and take action to those little bits of pieces of information that you're receiving, what's going to happen is you're going to start creating this back and forth, and I'm making like the infinity sign of relationship between you and your higher self, or you and God, or you and your guides, your angels, whomever it is that you're working with. You're creating this communication between the messages and yourself, the unseen and the seen. You're the seen, you're the 3D. And then maybe you'll look at it next time and you'll be like, huh, actually it doesn't look so bad, right? And if you have a thought like that, then that's when you yourself choose to expand into the next one. So maybe the next message you get is like, I was just playing with you, but what I really was thinking is that you could write something, like maybe write like a deep sentence that has meaning, and you're like, what is that? Okay, well, let me see what comes up. And you can write something, and then you can be, wow, like that's really cool, or that's really deep, and did that come from me, and question it, right? So it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you listen to it because it's truth. You take action upon it because that acknowledges whomever or whatever it is that you're receiving the message from, that you're listening. And then that gives you a stronger path, a stronger next time for you to have that communication. It's just like when you make a new friend, right? Hi, how are you? Oh, where are you from? I'm from here. Oh, I live there too. Oh, I did that. And you have like that type of getting to know you conversation. And then maybe the next time you see them, you ask a little bit more about the background, and you start to get to know each other. And as you become more and more comfortable with the person, then the friendship becomes to get deeper, and you start sharing things that are more meaningful to you, or things that are more personal to you. You don't do that on the first time. You do that when you start to feel comfortable, when you have developed enough trust in the relationship. And that's exactly the same way that spirit, your guides, God, your angels, develop that relationship with you. It's not them, it's on your side. You're the one who has to make that step to listen, to follow up, to believe, to trust, to take action on what you're receiving. And then the more that you do that, the more that you are able to get the messages stronger, easier. You begin to listen faster. You begin to see the synchronicities between one thing and the other, or what happened when you took action, what happened when you didn't. And you begin to notice that there's actually a pattern, there's actually something happening here for you. And it happens really well when you take action, when you listen to that little voice. And it takes a little bit longer when you don't. You begin to see these patterns, and then you begin to trust. And the more you do it, the more you trust. And the more you trust, the more you receive. And the more you receive, the more your life begins to take change into a place of more flow and more ease. So it's that little voice that you get that sounds like your own thought in your head, but it gives you that very millisecond of an uplift in your body that makes you feel like almost like wow, right? Like almost like a mini surprise or something. And then you let go. It's those little things. Begin to take notice of what those are. Begin to take notice of when they happen, what you were thinking or doing when you received them. If you took notice or if you took action upon what you received, and then begin to make these connections so that you can make a bigger connection between you and your divine guidance. That's the message for today. I hope that you liked it. I'm going to post this on YouTube. And if you go see it there, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know anything that came through from here. You can do it on here as well. But this video deletes every 30 days on Facebook. So go to YouTube where this will live forever, hopefully, maybe, until somebody changes the rules again. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and share with anybody else that you feel will benefit from it. With that, I let you go. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.